Okay. This was out yesterday. The Los Angeles Unified School District will require all students and employees who are returning for in-person instruction to participate in weekly COVID testing, regardless of vaccination status. This is what we're just talking about with Congressman Rosendale. It's just complete insanity. You know, get a vaccination, you won't have to wear a mask. What are they doing now? Not only you have to wear a mask, you're having to get tested. This is why people do not trust our government. By the way, I hope that this is an incentive for parents, at least in Los Angeles where they're doing this nonsense, for parents to say, enough, I'm pulling my kids out of these government indoctrination centers and I'm going to homeschool my children. You know, we talked about this earlier in the week. We've seen a huge increase, more than doubling of homeschooling. And this is part of the reason, this nonsense that's happening in public schools. Joining me now to talk more about this, Meg Kilgannon, FRC Senior Fellow for Education Studies here at the Family Research Council. Meg, welcome back to the program.
It's great to be here, Tony.
I mean, this is one of the reasons I think many parents are rethinking public education. There should be plenty of reasons to rethink, but this, again, is just, it's nonsense. You get vaccinated, but you still have to be tested. You're vaccinated, you still have to wear a mask. I mean, it makes no sense.
Well, and the arbitrary nature of this decision in Los Angeles, it would make me as a parent, if I lived there, I would be wondering, could I really rely on the schools? Who's going to receive the results of this test? If you look at the documents about this testing procedure, only parents can register a student for a test. Okay, so that's good. But then they're going to email you the result, and they assure the parents that they're only going to share it with the public health officials who need to see the COVID status of your child. This kind of invasion of medical privacy is unprecedented, and it should make parents think about what's going on in schools and what they need to do for their families.
Well, that's the good news, Meg. There are a lot of parents that are thinking about what's happening in schools, and in Virginia, right here in this area, right, we've had parents that are not backing down. Now, earlier this week on Tuesday, a Virginia circuit judge ruled that parents suing the State Department of Education and Virginia Secretary of Education, this is beyond me, lack standing to file a suit challenging the recently adopted guidelines regarding transgender students. These are the pronoun policies and all that other lunacy. But these parents aren't backing down.
No, they're not backing down. The part of this decision that just boggled my mind was the fact that they said that because the policies only affect the school boards, the parents who were suing over the model policies had no standing with which to address the court about the model policies. So this out of touch, out of control nature of our educational system right now is, I think, why so many parents are rethinking their educational choices, and rightly so. And it's why we really have to engage in the system, because there's only one kind of thinking impacting education right now, and it's not ours.
Yeah. Well, again, it's my show, so I can say what I want to say. But what I say is I don't think we should be sending our kids to public education. If you have any other option, get your kids out of these indoctrination centers. Because I'm telling you what, they're actually turning kids against their parents. They're doing that because they're hiding information. They're telling their kid, the teachers, the administration are telling kids, don't tell your parents that.
They are. They do that regularly. There are books that are, in the critical race theory on reading lists and things that are things that children shouldn't be exposed to. The transgender policies where one set of records is kept for the student who chooses a new name in an opposite sex is kept for the school, and the school knows about all of that. But then there's a separate set of records kept for when the school has to engage with the parent so that that information can be kept from them. And this is done in many, many schools, I think parents need to confirm that it is not already happening in your school before you just assume that it's not.
How can you find out? I mean, if they're lying to you about that, how can you trust them to tell you the truth if they're say, okay, let me ask you this. Are you lying to me or not?
Well, there are a lot of very clever folks out there. You could ask, as a parent of a child who's wondering if his information will be kept confidential, and ask how far they'll go, or you could call the school and say that you're concerned about a student whose name you don't give, and you're wondering if that student would be kept safe by the school, and see what kind of answers you get. But yes, you can't necessarily trust the response. They're supposed to publish all the policies, and if schools in Virginia adopt the model policies that the Virginia Board of Education is demanding that they adopt, then it will be obvious what's happening in Virginia. And there are plenty of states who have very similar policies to what Virginia is considering already. It's already standard practice in many places, sadly.
But as we talked about, even we're almost out of time, but even parents up in Connecticut are pushing back on this nonsense.
They're running one of the school districts in Connecticut is running a slate of candidates that's opposed to critical race theory, and they have managed to get the endorsement of the Republican Party there, and the sitting school board members who are endorsed by the party are no longer endorsed candidates of the party. So this is a big victory for parents who are opposing critical race theory.
Because these sitting school board members signed a statement of this lunacy, and parents are saying,
everything.
Nope, not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, this is the good news. Parents can make a difference when they get involved and they take a stand. Meg Kilgannon, always great to talk with you. Thanks for keeping your eye on education.
Thank you, Tony.